During the month of February, we're exploring love and relationships. Every marriage, of course, is going to hit a rough spot at some point. It's inevitable. But when things take a turn for the worse, how do you patch it up? Or what do you tell your friends to do? Relationship expert Tiffany Davis Henry joins me. Tiffany, there's such a thing. Is there such a thing as a doomed marriage? Or, I mean, can they be saved? I think it depends on the situation.
It does depend on the situation. And for the most part, most marriages can be saved if the two people are willing to do the work. And that's the key, because some people aren't willing to do what it takes to save their marriage.
I have so many friends right now. I'm hearing about affairs, and it just seems like those things are popping up all over the place. It's really it's depressing and frustrating.
It's very
How do you maintain a healthy relationship to protect yourself from something like that?
I have 5 really cool steps to help you maintain the marriage. And the first one really is assess the situation. Be very, very honest with yourself, honest with your partner about how you got here. It's not all the other person's fault. Each person has 50% responsibility in the relationship. So I say, you take your 50, I'll take my 50. We need to really hash out what's going wrong and what's going on.
So when there's finger pointing, you got to quit that and start taking ownership of your own stuff.
Absolutely. And then second, I always say, have a State of the Union address. Like, really sit down and say, okay, here's where things are. Again, be very honest about the state of the union, where they are, and start developing some plans to get yourselves back on track.
I like that. So goal setting.
Yes.
What else you got?
Nix the peanut gallery. All those ancillary people in your lives that have their opinions.
The mother.
Absolutely not. I always believe that you should have someone that you can vent to, someone that you can share your concerns with. But too many cooks in the kitchen is not a good idea, and it can actually make things worse.
Yeah, and people seem to apply their own situation, don't they? Because sometimes it may not work for them, it may work for you.
Right, and you got to understand, this is your life. You're the one that has to sleep in the bed with this person and talk to them first thing in the morning and manage the kids. You and that person really need to connect and share and be open and honest with each other about what's really going on. So those other people, kind of get them out of the way so you can really focus on what it is that's really bothering you and what you need to do.
Now, I know a lot of people choose to separate, hoping to work things out. A lot of times that doesn't work, but is that ever a good option? What do you think?
Separation does work for some couples, but you'll have to remember, if there are kids involved, you want to disrupt their lives as little as possible. So if you do decide to separate, make sure that if dad has always picked them up from soccer practice, that dad continues to pick them up from soccer practice. Don't get them involved in your mess.
Give them some consistency, and I'm sure you don't bring them into your mess. You're arguing and bickering too, right?
No. Yeah, you've got to protect them from it. Kids are very egocentric, so they oftentimes will think the argument is about them, or if mom leaves, it's about them, and it's so not. So shelter them as much as possible. This is not their responsibility. This is an adult issue, so let the adults handle it and leave the kids out of it.
You don't want them internalizing all of that. At what point is counseling the best option? Because people are like, oh, I go to therapy, it's great, you should go too, and the guys are like, oh, stay away.
I think therapy is really, really important. Along with empathy, I think therapy is key. Sometimes when you're in it, you're knee deep in the trenches, you can't see the forest for the trees, and a therapist will be able to objectively tell you what they see is going on and give you some workable solutions, some real life tools to help you fix what's broken.
Tiffany Davis Henry, thank you so much. Some great tips to think about.
Thank you. Hope it helps.